Hello and welcome to the new year. Super exciting. I've developed this little series where mobility meets yoga with a little bit of my own flair, where we're just going to dive into 12 different 20 to 30 minute full body yoga practices with the goal of feeling revitalized and good after. You don't need, but it will be useful to have 2 blocks, maybe a strap. And today we're going to begin in a cross-legged position, seated. And a seated cross-legged position can sometimes be quite tight on the hips. And if you feel like this is a really uncomfortable position to be in, you feel like your back is rounding to try to stay upright, just take one of the blocks or 2 and place it underneath the hips so they become a little bit more elevated. And then this allows more space for the hips to just settle. We'll place the hands in any position. Maybe you like them connected onto the knees, maybe folded together. Find a little bit of a tone to the core by drawing belly button to spine. Notice how you sit up just a little bit taller. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And see if with every inhale, maybe you can bring a little bit more space in between your vertebrae. Feeling the spine grow longer. Tone the core and try to keep that height as you exhale through the nose. When you inhale, feel the front of the rib cage expand outward, as well as the back of the rib cage expand backward in space, and the sides of the rib cage expand to the sides. Feeling this 360-degree expansion in the trunk. Especially at the very bottom of that exhale, tone the core a little bit so you prevent yourself from rolling in. Nice tall spine. A few more breaths like this. Maybe you can constrict the back of your throat and make that ocean-like sound when you start breathing with sound. 2 more breaths. Keep yourself seated on the block if you're already there, or if you're on the floor, you can definitely keep yourself on the floor. As you inhale, send the arms up overhead. Maybe the palms come to touch, maybe they don't. Try to prevent yourself from arching the spine and keep yourself nice and neutral. Tuck the core towards the spine. Feel that engagement. Every inhale, reach the shoulders up towards the ears. Every exhale, keep the arms straight and try to hug the thumbs backward in space. Sitting up nice and tall. And then thumbs go backward on the exhale. Stretching out the sides of the body. 1 more. Keep that length in the spine and walk the left fingertips somewhere off to the left-hand side. Maybe the fingertips graze the floor, but you don't have to. Reach the right arm up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, lean over. We want this beautiful rainbow shape. Feeling rooted in the right sits bones, but really reaching with the right fingertips up overhead. Trying to knit the left ribs in, like you're trying to touch the outside of the rib cage to the left hip, creating that really cinched in arch on the left-hand side and this grand rainbow shape on the right-hand side. 2 more breaths. Reaching with the fingertips. On your next inhale, pull yourself up through center. This time, palms come to touch, bend the elbows. The back really wants to arch here, but keep the waist, the core engaged. Every inhale, try to hug the biceps along the ears, elbows point up towards the ceiling. Every exhale, send the fingertips back in space. Pressing the palms in towards each other, hugging the elbows inward. And straighten the arms. Reach up towards the ceiling, hug the shoulders up towards the ears, and then right fingertips off to the right-hand side. And then we lean like you're reaching over something here, maybe over a fence post. Feeling that big rainbow shape down the left side body as you cinch in a little bit more down the right-hand side. Two more breaths. Stay rooted in the left hip. Try to relax the feet and the hips. On an inhale, pull yourself back up. Arms reach up overhead for the last time. Bend the elbows. Hug the biceps along the ears. Tuck the core. Inhale, elbows up. Exhale, fingertips back. One more. Now try to keep the biceps exactly where they are and just straighten the arms. Maybe palms are together, maybe they're not. And then drop the head back. Reach the arms up a little higher. And then let it go. Roll forward and find your way into a tabletop position. Wrists stacked underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Find a little bit of a back and forth rock. Making this movement intentional, opening up the wrists as you lean forward, and then the bottoms of the feet as you lean back. Eventually, finding some stillness in the center. Really root down through the hands, and then widen through the sits bones, lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling, drop the belly. Keep arching through the back as you pull the chest between the arms, chin lifts. Pause. Staying here, imagining like you're touching the crown of your head to your tailbone. Broaden across the collarbones. And then tuck the tailbone under first. And then feel the low back round, navel to spine, ripple through the vertebra as you push the ground away and tuck the chin. Hollow out the front line of the body. And hollow yourself out so much, push into the hands so much that the knees hover. 2, 1, lower the knees. Inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, arch through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, pull the chest through the arms. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, navel to spine as you roll forward. Tuck the chin and push the hands into the ground so much that your knees hover. Find that rainbow shape throughout the body. Inhale, drop the knees, lift the tailbone. Drop the belly, pull the chest between the arms, chin lifts. Tailbone tucks, round through the spine. Push the ground away with the hands, hover the knees. One more time, knees drop. Roll through the spine, really waking up through the vertebra. Last time, tucking the tailbone, rolling through the spine. Lift the knees. Make your way down. Heel toe the knees so they come to touch, and then extend the right toes back behind you. Shift the weight back a little bit while keeping the right toes on the ground, sending the heel back in space like you're trying to get it to touch the ground. Just moving in and out of that a little bit, feeling the stretch in the back of your calf. Engaging through the core and pressing downwards through the ball of the foot. And then bend at the knee. Keeping everything neutral. Nice gentle press into the mat with the hands. Hugging the hips together. Then starting from the tailbone, lift the bum up towards the ceiling. Pull the chest between the arms. Find that arched back. And then lead with the tailbone as you exhale, curl under. Try to press forward, knee to nose. Inhale, send that foot back behind you. Pull the chest between the arms. And roll in, knee to nose. Again, open, find that arched back. Squeeze, we're changing it up. Squeeze the heel towards the bum. Now this time as you round forward, open the hip first, like you're trying to touch the ceiling with the right knee. And then big rainbow of the right knee forward as you try to tap knee to nose. Reversing that movement, send the right knee open. As you slowly pull the chest through the arms, arch the back. And then moving forward again, round, really open up the hip and circle the knee. And then send it back behind you, open the chest. One more time, round. And then open to stay. Tent up on the right fingertips. Take this left shin and pivot so it's parallel with the front edge of the mat. The right fingertips will get nice and light. Squeeze the right heel. You're in kind of a twist. You're gripping the right fingertips into the mat while you're kind of pivoting. You have this big twisting motion. Feel the side body stretch. Maybe you feel the cramping in the right hip. 2 more breaths. Then I get nice and light through the right fingertips. Keep the right leg where it is and just reach up towards the ceiling. Keep squeezing. And then extend the right leg long and lower it all the way onto the ground. Reaching up with the right hand and then overhead bicep along the ear. Find a little bit of an open towards the chest. Reach the arm back behind you. Find that cow shape, that arch to the back. And then exhale, close off the chest. Maybe the right fingertips tap the ground as you find that cat-like shape, that roundness. One more inhale to open. Exhale to close. Inhale to cartwheel yourself all the way up, find your gate pose. Then take this right leg and just twist so the foot is perpendicular with the short edge of the mat. Keep this left leg where it is. A little bit of a form check. Your left leg is parallel and your right foot's perpendicular. Arms reach up to the side and take a nice deep bend into that right knee. And kind of like a baby warrior 2 shape. Maybe you take a few pulses in and out of it if it's okay on your left knee. Pressing especially into the outer blade edge of this right foot. Next time you're pushing the knee forward, lean back. Right fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. Find this big expressive side bend. Maybe you find that you can open the chest a little bit. Thrusting the hips forward a little bit. Pressing either the ball or the top of the left foot into the ground. And then pull yourself back up through warrior 2. Keep reaching until the right fingertips are ahead of the right foot. And then lift the left fingertips up towards the ceiling and then overhead. You're kind of using your right tricep to press into your right knee. So you feel that little bit of a hip opener. Keeping the neck long. Instead of thinking about crunching in on the right hand side, think about lengthening through the spine. Stretch forward a little bit more with the left hand. Inhale. Last exhale. Inhale, pull yourself up through that baby warrior two. Straighten completely in the right leg until you deliver the left hand back onto the ground. Reach the right hand up towards the ceiling, and then hover the right foot. Bend the right knee. Now maybe you open the chest and stretch back, reaching for the right ankle, the right foot. Maybe you have it, maybe you don't. Doesn't matter. If you have it, you're kicking the hand into the foot and resisting with the hand. And if you don't quite have it yet, you can reach back as if you're gonna grab it, do all the work, and maybe one day you'll be able to deliver the foot into the hand. One more breath. Keep this leg lifted, but reach up overhead with the right hand and place it on the ground. Pivot on the left knee, so it's back to normal. And then big circle with the right knee as you step the right foot to the outside of the right hand for a low lunge. Finger pads gripping onto the mat, pull the chest through the arms, find a little bit of a back bend. Keep sending the left hip down while peeling the right hip back. Hug the right knee in towards midline. Broaden across the collarbones. And then plant the hands. Straighten into the right leg. Pausing here just for a moment in your half split. Maybe you take a second to windshield wiper this right foot back and forth, so you find all those different little tight spots down the back of the right leg. Plant the right hand and drag the right foot back to meet the left. Find yourself in stability first, and then heel toe the knees to touch. The left leg extends back behind you. And then kind of shift the weight back, shift the hips back so you can poke or at least place more weight into the left foot, kind of stretching at the left calf a little bit. Really pressing the ball of the foot nice and firm into the ground. And then bend the knee. Neutral spine at first. Find the work in the glute to keep you supported here. Hips are level, core is engaged. And then start from the tailbone, then drop the belly, pull the chest through the arms, send the foot up a little bit higher, kick the ceiling. Then tuck the tailbone and use that to drive the knee forward. Curl in, tap knee to nose. One more like that. Send the leg back behind you and arch. Then tuck the tailbone, drive the knee forward, roll, tap knee to nose. Take it back behind you and arch. This time open through the hip, try to stack left hip on top of right. And then nice and slow, send that left knee upward. Big half circle, try to tap the nose. And then just as slowly open, send that foot back behind you, arch through the spine. Last time round and roll. And then open and hold. Tent up on left fingertips. Pivot on the right knee so the right shin's parallel to the front edge of the mat. The left hand will get lighter, but keep pressing the finger pads into the mat. Squish the left heel towards the left glute a little bit more. And try to tuck the tailbone under you just a little bit. And then get even lighter in the left fingertips until they reach up towards the ceiling. Try to get this left shin parallel to the floor. And then once you feel comfortable with that, then you can ride that plane and send the foot backwards in space. Squeeze the heel a little bit closer. Then extend the left leg long, pause. Keep the toes turned downward. And then place the foot all the way onto the ground. Stretch the left arm up overhead one last time. Feel that big long rainbow shape, that side body stretch. And then pull yourself up through center. Pivot on the left toes. Bring them a little bit closer. And then send the weight into this left knee. Really driving the hips laterally. Pressing into the outside of the left foot. Back right toes can be tucked or untucked, doesn't matter. And the wingspan is wide. Maybe you take a few moments to pulse in and out of this, but you don't have to. Two more full breaths. Shoulders away from the ears, biceps long. Pressing into the outer blade edge of the left foot. Next time, the knees forward. Reach the left fingertips up overhead. Right fingertips tented somewhere on the mat. Maybe you open the chest a little bit. Find a little bit of a back bend. And then pull yourself up through center. Reach forward with the left fingertips until they plant on the ground. Right fingertips reach up and then overhead. Use that pressure between left tricep and left knee to drive open the hip a little bit. Keep the glutes engaged, the core engaged. Really reach with the left fingertips. Think about keeping the spine long and the crown of the head reaching forward. On your next inhale, pull yourself back up through center, and then deliver the right hand back onto the ground. We forgot to do one thing, so we're just gonna do it now. Reach the left arm up overhead, and then open the chest towards the ceiling. Find that opening, that arch to the back. Exhale to close. Tap the left fingertips somewhere on the ground and feel that roundness. When we're open, sweeping the left hand up overhead, arch to the back, and close. Now reach the left fingertips up overhead. Take the weight forward until the back toes lift. And then bend at the knee. Open through the chest. Pull down the elbow. And then extend the arm. Maybe you find the foot or the ankle. Maybe you don't, doesn't matter. But keep kicking foot into hand, hand into foot. 3, engage through the core, little tuck to the tailbone. 2, 1, keep this leg bent. Reach the left fingertips forward and plant them on the ground. Pivot on the right knee. Big step, left foot to the outside of left hand. Wiggle the right knee back a little bit if that feels good. Pop up on the fingertips and find that little bit of an arch to the spine. Broaden across the collarbones. Shoulders away from the ears. Keep hugging the left knee inward. You can see what it feels like to actively drive the finger pads forward or drag them back. I personally like a push forward, kind of gives me a bit of leverage. See what it feels like to squeeze and engage your right glute. And then begin to straighten into the left leg and shift the weight back. Just for a moment, maybe you find that windshield motion with the foot. Then plant the hands and suck the left leg back to meet the right. Tuck the toes under. Find that cow pose, that arch to the spine. And then press through the tops of the balls of the feet until the knees lift. And then glide the hips back, straighten the legs, find your downward facing dog. Pedaling at the feet, taking a moment to move how you need to move to wake up your body. One more breath. Now big toes come to touch under you in your down dog. It'll feel a little tighter. Right foot hovers, and then peel it back through your three-legged dog. Keep trying to drive the left heel downward. Keep pressing the chest back. Open the right hip and bend the knee. Come up onto the ball of the left foot, and then drop the left knee to the ground, keeping the right knee where it is. We kind of wind back in that space we have already been in. Pull the chest through the arms, squeeze the heel towards the bum, and find that arch to the spine. Keep squeezing the heel towards the glutes. As you send the right knee forward, take a big half circle with the knee as you curl in, knee to nose. 2 more, open, nice and slow. Move slower than you want to. And then pull the chest through the arms. Then lead with the tailbone as you close. Nice big active hip mobility. Last time we open. Pull the chest through the arms. This time get nice and light in the left fingertips. Reach the left hand forward. Then open up through the chest towards the left hand side. Pausing here. Or maybe reaching back for the right foot. Maybe you grab it, maybe you don't, doesn't matter. You're doing the same work for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Keep the right knee bent and elevated. Stretch the left fingertips up overhead. Feel that twist for just a moment. And then plant the left fingertips on the ground. Keep the right knee lifted. Circle it out. Big half circle. Step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. We arrive again in our little low lunge. Pull the chest through the arms. Drop the left hip down. Option to stay here. If you want a little bit more, it can be hard on the knee. But if you want a little bit more, squeeze the left heel towards the glutes. 2 more breaths. One more breath. Now plant that foot down if it's lifted. We stay just for a little while longer. See if you can sink down a little bit deeper. Here's where you can recruit some blocks to take some pressure off the wrists. Maybe you go on your fists. Maybe forearms down. Finding a little moment of stillness, reaching the crown of the head forward. Hugging the right knee inward. Trying to keep yourself a little bit contained. Think about actively drawing your right heel and your left knee towards each other. Two more breaths. Pop yourself up into your hands, whether you're on blocks or floor, doesn't matter. Then shift the weight back again. Find that half split. Maybe a more stationary half split if you want. Or maybe you find that little windshield wiper movement again, staying anywhere that feels sticky. Plant the hands from the foot, drag the right foot back to meet the left. Tuck the tailbone, broaden through the collarbones, arch the back, hover the knees. Then glide the hips back, use the core, find your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths to bend one knee and then the other. Maybe you dip one shoulder down and then the other. And then big toes come to touch. Left foot hovers. Nice and slow, peel it back, three-legged dog. Now open the hip and bend the knee. Feel strong and grounded, look forward. Shift a little bit more weight into the hands, bend the right knee until you land in that three-legged table. Pull the chest between the arms, find your arched back. Squeeze the heel in towards the glute. Think about stacking left hip on top of right. Then big exhale, control swing of the left knee forward. Tap the nose, curl in, cat back. 2 more, open and arch. Broaden across the collarbones, squeeze. And then curl in and round. Pause. Open and arch. Curl and round. Feel some heat building. Last time, open and arch. This time get light in the right fingertips. Send the right fingertips forward. Feel that spinal balance. And then open the chest up towards the right hand side. Right fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. You can stay here. Maybe you reach back. Whether you grab the foot is irrelevant. You're doing the same work. 3, 2, 1. Reach the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Pause, feel that twist. And then plant the right hand down on the ground. Big open left hip. Step the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Take a moment here to pull the chest through the arms. Broaden across the collarbones. Arch through the back. Maybe you take the blocks. Kind of like a little bit of blocks for some height. Bend the knee, optional. 3, 2, 1. Drop the foot if you have it lifted. Using hands, blocks, or whatever, we're going to sink down into a little bit more of a semi-passive lizard. You're going to try to imagine drawing the right knee and the left ankle towards each other. Crown of the head reaches forward. Pressing through, especially the big toe edge of the left foot. Just keep it a little bit contained. One more breath. Prop yourself onto your hands. Then shift the weight back, find that half split. All the options. Maybe you roll a little bit back and forth. Maybe you find stillness, stopping anywhere along the way. Then drag the left foot back to meet the right. Plant the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck lift the tailbone up towards the ceiling, drop the belly, pull the chest between the arms. Hover the knees, and then glide back, use the core. Keeping this momentum going, uproot the heels. Tuck the tailbone under you, rolling like a wave from down dog into plank. Keep a big hollow of the front line of the body. Pause. Look forward. And then step the feet to either side of the hands for Malasana. Sink the hips down while you have the blocks. Again, you can always place the blocks underneath the hips if your hips are super tight. And just take a moment to send the right knee as far forward over the right toes as feels comfortable, while keeping the right heel on the ground, super important. Keep the right heel nice and rooted. Then use your elbow to give a little bit of pressure. Send the right knees over the toes. We work that dorsiflexion. Keeping that dorsiflexion and that pressure on the knee, reach the right fingertips down towards the ground, keeping more weight in the right foot. Keep that nice big angle. And then open up the chest towards the left. You'll find you're leaning quite a bit over to the right hand side. You have the option for the bind now that you're here. Maybe you rotate the right arm so the thumb faces down and bend the elbow so you cinch that leg in. This is all optional, stopping anywhere along the way. Your goal is a T-spine twist. And then if you want the bind, high five the back of the room with the left hand. Reach back, bend the elbow, maybe you grab the fingertips. Wherever you are, keep placing a little bit of weight, keep sending that right knee over the right toes. 2 more. Last one. If you have the bind, go ahead and release it nice and slow. We meet in this little twist. And then come back through center. Giving the right ankle a little bit of a break, we move to the left-hand side. Keeping the left heel on the ground, send the left knee over the left toes. Use your forearm to place a little bit of pressure so you feel that stretch in the ankle. Keeping rooted through the big toe mound, pinky toe mound, and heel of the left foot. Then keeping pressure between the tricep and the knee, reach the left arm off to the left-hand side somewhere, keeping yourself leaning towards the left. Then open the other arm up towards the ceiling, feel that nice big stretch. Then you have that option for the same bind. Two more breaths. Unravel yourself if you're in that twist. We all meet in this little T-spine moment. Then we cycle between those two. Come back through center. First find center of the ankles, and we're gonna try to keep here this time. We don't wanna shift too far over one side or the other, but keep ourselves neutral. We place the right tricep to the inside of the right knee, and then spiral open towards the left-hand side, keeping the hips level, maybe reaching the arms away from each other. Then move back through center, really reach and hollow out the body, think cat pose. And then switch, open up towards the right-hand side. Keeping the hips and the knees level. Reach forward and hollow, like cat pose. And then 2 more each side, open on the inhale. Exhale to round. Open on the inhale. Exhale to round. 1 more, open and round. Last time, open and come back forward. Tented fingertips find the mat. Lift the hips, so you're gonna halfway lift. And then take a generous bend to the knees as you ragdoll. Maybe you find a gentle sway side to side. Maybe you stay in stillness, but we're here for 5 breaths. Try to place more weight in the toes. Inhale up and a halfway lift. We're here for another 5 breaths, but a different variation. Oh, my legs are shaky. You're gonna interlace the fingers at the nape of the neck, right between, or your pinky fingers will be right at the base of the skull. And you'll hang down in that ragdoll pose again, but this time traction the head a little bit away from the neck, taking care not to pull. You're just kind of easing yourself into making more space. The elbows are hanging down. Maybe you massage the sides of your neck with your thumbs. Two more. Inhale to find a halfway lift. And then we sink the hips towards the ground. Using hands or not, make your way all the way onto your bum. Bottoms of the feet find the ground, hollow out the front line of the body, and use our core to deliver ourselves all the way to a supine position. Arms out to the side. Give yourself a minute to maybe windshield wiper the knees from one side to the other. Maybe gathering them in towards your chest. Maybe you take a happy baby. Just giving yourself the time to move how you need to move. Two more breaths. And then extend the legs long and the arms out to the side for a quick Shavasana. Maybe you exhale through the mouth to really just let it go. Keeping your mind from wandering. Maybe you try to focus on the breath. Notice the movement of your diaphragm as you breathe. With every breath, try to sink a little bit deeper into the floor. And I invite you to stay here for as long as you like, really allowing your body to find a sense of relaxation and peace. And thank you for joining our exciting day one. Namaste.